Alright, dear rats, let's talk about how to talk to APIs because we've looked at infrastructures, how APIs are built, how they're deployed in a real life scenario, but now we need communication with APIs, and I'm going to show you something very special at the very end of this chapter because this is freaking cool and I was able to auto generate it by ChatGPT, but I'm not gonna spoil it too much. I'm not gonna spoil it too much. Let's talk with curl. Let's talk with curl. Let's start with that. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. So, when we want to work with curl, you guys know that you can curl through like a command prompt, right? If I clear everything here for a moment, I can curl, for example, https labs.hexpert.com. Well, I can do the same to APIs. So if I take this pet store, the Swagger pet store thingy that you can see right here, you can see some curls in here as well. And what these curls will do is they're just going to make a request. You give it the request method with the X here, and then you have the URL that you sent it to. You have some headers with the -h that you can give it. You give it the -d for a body, and you have a request that's built up. Get, put, post, delete, whatever request method is required, you can do that with curl. So if we repeat that, curl -x, and when we want to say post, put, or get, then we want to say -head to head any headers, and then we want to, if we needed, -d, of course, for a body, probably in JSON format, but could be otherwise as well. Okay, so very basic stuff here so far. Everything is going all right. Now, what else do we need to take into account? So if we, let's move this thing out of the way for a moment, get back to here. If we do a curl request, why is it so important? Because it's easy. Every developer has this on their machine. You can do this very simply in your terminal, and developers know what the fuck you're talking about. That's why I like it so much. So if we want to make a get request with curl, I've put it in here as well. What we could do in that get request, here's an example. You can see that curl and just the request itself. If you want to send post data, if you want to add headers, I've put it in the PowerPoint. Though the authorization or authentication tokens, those are headers. XAPI keys, for example, will often happen when you're talking to an API. So you might have to add an XAPI key header or any type of other header. The APIs will tell you this. If I look at, for example, the Stripe API, so the Stripe API, the first chapters that you see here are about authentication, authenticated requests with, you can see it here, a different key. They require this SK and then the test or the normal key, but they require a key there. That is not what was required in our example because we didn't have a bearer token there. So just keep that in the back of your minds. You can do a basic authentication, you can do bearer authentication, you can do API key authentication. So by the way, you can do basic authentication with this -u, but you can also do basic authentication by just adding your authorization header. Your authorization could be, instead of bearer, base64, and code your username and password. Little trick there. That's just what basic encoding means. Then sending data in different formats. Basically, if you want to send form data, you just do -d and then parameter equals value, ampersand second parameter equals value. You do the curl with the post request, for example, and you see an example of JSON data as well, where you have key value pairs. Those are two different ways of talking to an API, but they matter so much. When it comes to handling redirects, sometimes your curl might fall into a redirect. You need to take that into account as well. So you can add that -l flag in your curl request to follow any potential redirects. If, on the other hand, you only want to view the response headers, you can add the -i flag. You don't need to have the whole body. Sometimes there's like a crap ton of data in the body, you don't care. With the -i flag, you can get back only the headers. So let's give that a shot. We had our curl request from before, -i. Ooh, Yeah, sorry, it's a dash L. My apologies. Nope. Fuck. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. I have to add that. Jesus, what? That's not possible. Girl dash L. Don't tell me I'm an idiot. Oh, dash I in capitals. I'm an idiot. I could also have just looked at the curl help command, but it helps if you put the right thing there, Wes. You know, that's what I heard. Just a tip for you. Okay, so moving on from this moron, the dash V flag, and that's the lowercase v, which is why I'm so confused. You can do that with this as well. So that's the body. That's just not the headers. That's only the body in that case. Working with cookies, a cookie is a header dash h cookie. And you can add session variables or whatever cookies you need, but you can also use a cookies.txt file. So you just save your cookies in a txt file so you don't have to add them every time you use curl. You can do that with dash c. And with the dash b command, you can use a cookie with a file like this as well. So you want to store the cookie. If you want to store the cookie, that's with the C command. If you want to use that cookie, that's with the B command. Moving on with the file uploads and downloads, because sometimes you want to download the file. You can do that with this command right here. So give that a shot if you want to. If you have an endpoint, of course, and then downloading and saving a file with the dash output. You can do that as well without being a file. So if I want to do a curl like this, I can also do the dash output command, and I always have to check back if that is in capitals. Yeah, that's no, that's not in capitals. So output .html, because I want the HTML file to have it, and you can see that it is downloaded it, and now I can download the output.html. There we go. So you can save the output as well for anything, but that's especially important if you want to talk to a file, my friends. Thank you very much. Give this a shot on the Swagger Pet Store. The Swagger Pet Store, that's this thing right here. I'll put that link in the description as well. There we go. So I will put that into the PowerPoint. That way we can, so how do I do that? I can add a new thing in here. There we go. Click to add a title. Title will be labs to try this on, and I have my own labs as well, of course, but these are good labs to try that on. Let's do this. Let's make this proper. So there we go, and I will have to edit the text color so that it's at least the proper header. I believe that's a header 1 or something. I'll do that later. That's not important. Just important that we have it in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go give that a try on the Swagger Pet Store. And if I have my stuff back on here, no worries. That way I can, so if I have my stuff back online, because my API labs are offline for a little bit, if they come back online, I'll make sure to as well put that in here. That way we always have a, oh shit, that's not what I wanted. Fuck it. I'll leave it like this for now. I'm only making things worse. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to the next tool.